Okay, welcome everybody to today's Ninja Skill Booster, Procrastination. Think dust and eat frogs. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. My name's Matt Cowdroy. For those of you that haven't met me before, it's a real pleasure to be here to share what is such an interesting topic, procrastination. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that I'm coming from this morning, the Gurungai people on the northern beaches of Sydney. I'd like to thank them for their custodianship of the land for many thousands of years and acknowledge their elders past, present and emerging. So thank you everyone for joining us. Let's get into this session today, procrastination. We love to start with a bit of a check-in with our sessions in our workshops and our Ninja Skill Boosters. Can you please put in the chat which chihuahua you feel like at the moment and why? This is a lovely way to get us connected this morning and just get everyone woken up, having a bit of a ninja mindfulness moment of how am I feeling? Oh, a few number threes. It's when you put number 3, it's pretty clear why. Put a few words after the number if you can. I love to know why. Working late last night. Oh, well, thanks for joining us, Alexandra. Appreciate that. Full of gratitude, Fiona. That's great to hear. Number 8, just moved into a new building. Oh yeah, that can feel a bit rough. So forgot to hang out the laundry. Oh no. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for putting those comments in there. If you haven't come across Think Productive before, welcome to your first Ninja Skill Booster. Think Productive is a global organization. I'm the owner of Think Productive here in Australia, but we are a global organization based out of the UK. And our vision globally is to create a work revolution where everyone loves Mondays. This gets us out of bed in the morning and we just absolutely love what we do. The founder of Think Productive Global, Graham Alcott, wrote this amazing book, How to Be a Productivity Ninja. And I bought this book back in 2014 when I was working in the corporate world and I was in desperate need of what it said on the front cover: worry less, achieve more, love what you do. I was overstressed, overworking, approaching burnout, probably at burnout. And this book made such a difference to my working life and my personal life that that's why I'm a full-time ninja these days and bought Think Productive Australia, bought the rights to Graham's business here. That's just a bit of background as to how I fit into the whole ninja picture. You're very welcome to get in touch with me if you have any questions after the session or interested in talking further about the work we do at Think Productive. Most of the work we do is in the form of workshops for clients who we get together with their teams and support them with their productivity, their stress, their hybrid working, things like that. Now let's get into this for you because I've got so much content for you today. I do like to start by reminding us all that we are human. So even though we try to achieve a lot in our work and our life, we need to remember we're human, not superhero. We need to remember that we're looking for progress in this thinking, in this space, in our productivity world, our time management world, our work and our life. We're looking for progress, not perfection. We may appear like superheroes sometimes when we get a lot done, focus on our priorities, these kind of things, but we are human. So we need to look after ourselves. We need to understand that we make mistakes. So it's just a lovely way to start, just to think we're not here to talk about being perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're here to see how can we tackle this thing called procrastination? What can we do about it? And how can we get through this? So this is what we're covering today. This is our plan. We're going to look at what is procrastination, why do we do it, and the most important section probably, how to fight it like a ninja. What are some good tools and techniques that we can all use to get through this friction or this inertia of procrastination? And there'll be some activities for you during this session. So please be ready, grab a pen and paper and be ready for anything because here it comes. Sorry, just checking something here to see if anyone's missing the session. And now I'll put my phone on flight mode. What is procrastination? Well, there's a lot of Google searches, about 1.5 million Google searches a month around the world on what is procrastination. How do I stop procrastinating effectively? Because it's a good way to procrastinate, to go and look at Google, I guess. But you're all here because it's a topical topic. It's something we're all very interested in. So this is how we can define procrastination. A few different options here. a delay in conjunction with subjective discomfort. I like that one because there is discomfort with procrastination. The illogical delay of behavior, especially if it's something important, especially if it's something that we know we need to do or want to do. Why do we put these things off? We know it's something that's going to make a difference to our career or our business or our life or our family or our community, whatever the thing is we're procrastinating about. Why do we put it off? But we do. Self-harm. There's a pretty blunt definition of procrastination. Self-harm. In a sense, it is. That's probably if you're making notes, that's probably the thing to write down. And by the way, the session will be recorded and I'll be sending you all the recording at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. So check your spam. So you don't need to take lots of notes if you just want to watch and listen. Here's an activity for you. Let's get started. I want you to think about something that you're resisting. Something that you're resisting. Just write down one thing that you're resisting, which is what's something you're procrastinating about. If you feel like sharing it in the chat, if you feel like putting it out there to the universe, please feel free. But just what's one thing that you're resisting? Just give you 20 seconds or so to have a think about that. It's a great question. I like the question, what am I resisting? It brings up something maybe more freely than when we say, what am I procrastinating about? Or what am I self-harming myself about with my procrastination? Because our thought process starts to shut down there a little bit. Some great examples coming in here. Thank you. Uni assignment, folding clothes, finalizing an assessment, delaying getting started on a big risk assessment. Yes. The hard stuff. Yes. We're resisting the hard stuff. Try to choose something specific, Kerry. You don't have to put it in the chat, but what's a specific thing you're procrastinating about? Because we'll be using this for an activity later in today's session. Being overwhelmed, selling unwanted items online, things that take longer to complete. My diary. Okay. So if you've got something there, like a specific task, like some of you have, that's going to help with the activities as we move forward. Decluttering my garage. Yes, good example. So let's have a look at why do we procrastinate? It's good to understand that it's kind of a human thing. We've got this part in our brain called our lizard brain or our amygdala. When we're stressed, when we're worried about things, we have what's called an amygdala hijack. I'll put amygdala in the chat for you. If you want to do any Googling on this later. We have an amygdala hijack. Now, what this does, it puts us into freeze mode, fight and flight or freeze. But when it comes to procrastination, it's often like a freeze mode. This gets us stuck. We're worried about, are we going to make a mistake on this big thing? Or I don't know where to start. I'm unsure about this thing. So it's good to be aware of this. Many of you have done our productivity ninja training, I know, and we've talked about the brain reset breath. You can do some nice gentle breathing with nice long exhalations. That's a good way to start offsetting that lizard brain. Nice, you can even sigh out a nice breath. And it makes us feel good, but not only is it making us feel good, it's offsetting that lizard brain reaction and it starts to bring our brain back to normal, which can help us then think more clearly. That's kind of like step one, if you like, into thinking, why am I feeling a bit frozen? But what I'm about to share with you is a technique you can actually work through when you realize, when we realize we're procrastinating about something. The dust model. So this dust model comes from a book that Graham wrote called Study Ninja, which was specifically targeted at sort of university students, TAFE students. I know we've probably got quite a few TAFE teachers with us today. TAFE students, uni students, college students. When we're procrastinating, this is a fantastic model to use, and these are the reasons why we might be doing it. It might be difficult, undefined, scary, or tedious. When we sit down and we look at this thing we're procrastinating about and start to think, why am I doing this? This gives us a reason. If it's difficult, that's okay. That's a fair enough reaction. If it's difficult, we might need to get some more help, do some more research, allocate some more time to this thing. Fair enough if it's outside our normal skills. If it's undefined, someone mentioned in the chat needing to clean out the garage. So if you keep having on your to-do list, clean the garage, it's a bit too broad. And every time you look at that, it's going to be like, oh, too hard, like I don't know where to start. But if you break that down and think, what's the first step to cleaning out the garage? It might be, going through the boxes on the left-hand wall or something. Just break it down. So when things are undefined, we get a bit stuck as well because we don't know where to start. For me, an example of undefined might be doing my tax return. So if I just keep putting tax return on my to-do list, I keep looking at it and going, oh, I don't know where to start. But if I break that down and think, oh, call the accountant, make an appointment. Okay, when I see call the accountant, make an appointment on my to-do list, I can do that. So break it down. Some things are scary. When things are scary, that lizard brain reaction starts to happen. We're worried about the feedback. We're worried if we've made a mistake, may not have done a good enough job. What are people going to think of this? Is it even a good idea? Should I even be doing this? All the fear starts coming up. So I'll talk about scary a little bit more on the next slide when I talk about Seth Godin. So in Seth Godin's book, he covers this quite a lot. I'll come back to that on the next slide. And some things are tedious. In our work and in our life, there are always tedious things that we kind of have to do to keep things moving. A good tip when things are tedious is setting a timer and just thinking, I'm going to do like 25 minutes or half an hour of this thing, these expense claims, this student marking, reading the research that often puts me to sleep, whatever it is, the tedious thing, just set a timer, get it done. We start to get some feel-good hormones once we get through some of these tasks. So this is a critical part of today's session, and I love sharing this because it gives us somewhere to turn to. It gives us a tool to use when we are procrastinating about something. But let me just go back to scary and Seth Godin. Seth Godin wrote a fantastic book called Linchpin. And he says, you don't need more genius, you need less resistance. And I love this. He talks about artists or painters. When you're a painter, and I didn't do this painting, but a lovely friend of mine did. But when you're a painter, that moment comes when you have to hang that painting on the wall and say, it's finished. For many people, that's quite frightening because what if people don't like it? What if someone says I should have used a different color? This kind of thing. So he has this lovely phrase, and I'll put this in the chat. And the phrase is ship it. And ship it means just keep things moving. Don't stress too much. It doesn't matter if there's a mistake, like 80 or 90% is good enough. If we get stuck on things, it's 0%. So if we can achieve 80 or 90%, that's even better. So keep shipping. Ship it is a nice little personal mantra just to think, okay, I'm procrastinating about this thing because I'm worried about it. Ship it, just get it done. So I want you to go back now and reflect on that thing you wrote down that you were resisting and just have a think of why. So for that thing you're resisting, is it difficult, undefined, scary, or tedious? Is that the reason you're resisting it? And please feel free just to put one of those words in the chat. I'm curious to do a bit of a straw poll of are most people struggling with, are most of you struggling with difficult, undefined, scary, or tedious? Let's see what comes up. We've got lots of tedious coming in already. Scary and difficult. Yeah, okay, it can definitely be more than one. All of them. Oh, Jody, you better get in touch with me afterwards. Difficult and tedious. Difficult because struggling. Studies with work. Yeah, undefined. Okay, we've got a real broad here. Not so many scary, but a broad range here. So towards the end of this short session today, we'll be coming back to this to really help you work out what's the next step as well. So how to fight procrastination like a ninja. This is it. How do we do it? First step, we need a second brain. Our brain is not powerful enough to store everything we need to store in here. So our second brain is effectively like our to-do list, but our to-do list supercharged. It's our bigger, better to-do list. For all of us that already have to-do lists, we're part of the way there because the to-do list is a list of the things we normally need to do for work. The second brain has more information in there. Now, in our workshops, we go into a lot more detail on the second brain. Some of you have done that already, but this is great. This is enough information to get started. What goes in this second brain? Obviously your to-do list, but we also recommend a project list. A project list is a higher level list of things you're working on. This gives us something to review, something to go through and say, am I making some progress on all of these projects? Or am I stuck with one of them? Am I procrastinating on one of them? The master actions list kind of sits under or with the projects. This is the list of everything to do for each project. Now, not each task has to link to a project. So you might just have part of this, which is not linked to a project. It's just a list of random things I need to do, but it can be useful having that structure. Now, this can be done on pen and paper, can be done in an Excel spreadsheet. It can be done in OneNote or Todoist or many other sort of to-do apps. It could be done in Microsoft To Do. Doesn't matter where you do this. Don't get too hung up on the technology. Just use what you're already using, but make that to-do list or that second brain a little bit more powerful. And the other part that I really love in the second brain is having an ideas list. In the book, Graham actually calls this a good ideas list. I don't even like to define it as much as they don't even have to be good. It's just at that point, it's just an idea. At that point, it's just a thought I've had. It's not a task yet. It's not an action yet, but it's clearing our brain. The idea of this is clearing our brain so we've got space to do the thinking and do the work. So making sure our second brain is up and running is an important step. The next part of getting through this procrastination is to think about our different levels of attention during the day. Our green light or proactive attention, that's when we've got the best energy. And for most of us, that's in the morning, but it does differ between people. So have a think about when's your best energy. That's the time, your best energy or attention. That's the time to get those big tasks done. That's the time to tackle the procrastination. So have a think now and write down when do you feel the best during the day? And you might have a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours there. That's when we really want to get stuck into the procrastination. At the bottom is the inactive or the red light attention. That might be in the afternoon when some of us have a bit of a slump. That's a good time for going for a walk or drinking some water, doing some exercise, getting through that slump. And the rest of the day is orange, active attention. That's a good time for having meetings, making phone calls, those kind of things. But the key thing here is protect that green light, the proactive attention. That's when we want to get some focus done. Now, part of today's workshop we mentioned was eating frogs. A frog, for those of you that haven't heard, is the thing you're procrastinating about. Your frog is that thing that you wrote down or that thing you're resisting or those things that you're resisting. This was originally written about by Mark Twain and was popularized by Brian Tracy in his book, Eat That Frog. But the concept is, when's the best time to eat the frog? Before it gets bigger. So when we're procrastinating about something, it often feels like it's getting bigger. There's more, we're attaching more stress to it. We're getting closer to the deadline or we're over the deadline. When's the best time to eat that frog? Straight away, before it grows teeth. That's nice, Aaron. Or before it has babies, I've heard as well. Before it has babies. And a lovely saying in this eat the frog idea that came from Grace, one of our ninjas in the UK, is when you eat a frog first thing in the morning, everything else will taste sweet that day. And you can picture that. You get that thing done that you've been procrastinating about. The rest of the day will flow much better. So this is the idea of eating frogs, particularly in this space of hybrid working or virtual working. This is a great way to eat frogs, and I call this frog hunting or virtual frog hunting. You can jump on a Teams call or a Zoom call with someone and say, let's hunt a frog. What's your frog? I'll tell you my frog. And for the next hour, we sit here, we work together on our frogs. So we're not really even helping each other with our frogs, but we've just got this frog hunting idea going on. It's a really good way to stay focused and get through that procrastination. The next technique around tackling procrastination, fighting it like a ninja, is the Pomodoro technique. So using a timer. I just use the countdown timer on my phone. So the phone goes on flight mode. I go to the countdown timer, set it for about 25 minutes, and I focus for 25 minutes. This is the Pomodoro technique, a 25-minute sprint and a 5-minute break. 25-minute sprint, a 5-minute break. And this is the whole idea of keeping us focused. So choose the thing you're procrastinating about, set that timer and just say to yourself, I'm focusing on this until the end of the timer. You'll be amazed. You honestly, I use all these techniques because I needed help with productivity back in 2014. So I still use all these techniques to help me through my day. to help me stay focused on what matters. The other thing we can do is stealth mode. We need to block out distractions. We do need to turn our phones off or put them on do not disturb. We can turn our Outlook offline. This is a great tip for Outlook. Under the send receive menu is a button, work offline. One of the best tech tips I'll be giving you today. This puts Outlook into a kind of flight mode. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the other thing on the screen here is an app called Forest. It's just a cute little timer. If you like that idea of the Pomodoro technique and using timers, Forest is cute. I think it costs a few dollars, but as you achieve your goals, it plants little trees for you. You achieve your goals of using the timer and not getting distracted, not doing other things on the phone. If you do break the rules, the trees start dying. So it's quite cute. Thanks, Kerry. Kerry's just put a comment in there. Forest is great. If this is what it takes, grab it, use it. It's gamifying the process, which makes it a bit more fun. So yeah, it's a really interesting technique, that one. The other thing to think about with our procrastination is, where are we putting our motivation? Is it sort of inside our brain and our body, or is it outside? In terms of getting momentum, often this internal motivation can be okay when we've got momentum, but often we need to go to the extrinsic motivation and get other people to help us. This is where hunting frogs can help. Often that internal motivation is not quite enough. Like if you want to go to the gym and you're not good at going to the gym, or go for a run or a walk or something, often it's good to book a time with a friend and say, I'll meet you to go to the gym or go for a walk, or I'll meet you to do the frog hunting. I'll meet you online even to do an hour of frog hunting. That'll bring that extrinsic motivation. So maybe we need to bring that in to just keep us focused, keep us moving. I told you there'd be a lot of content today. I hope I'm not overwhelming you all, but lots of different ideas here. You certainly don't have to go and do them all at once, but pick the one or two that work for you. The other thing to think about is our purpose. Bit of ninja mindfulness here and thinking about purpose. Like sometimes we feel a bit stuck on the rock here, like, oh, I don't know where to go next. But if we zoom out and just think, what's my purpose? What am I building up to here? Why am I doing this? Might be working for an organization that has fantastic purpose, or you might be, working in your career for your career progression, or you might be earning the income you're earning to support your family or build a great home, or whatever it is, whatever your purpose is, that keeps us motivated. Now, some very specific techniques to help with our procrastination, our boss thinking. So using a daily checklist. I'll be sending this to you in the email with the recording. So look out for that email at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. It might go to your spam. I'll be sending you a link to this and you can download this. The most important thing on this checklist, if we do this in the morning, is choosing our priorities for the day. So some really clear prioritization. Get those 5 things written down on a Post-it note. This keeps us focused. When we thought about that undefined part of the dust model, this defines at least what our priorities are, which can really help us stay focused. The other thing that helps is a weekly review. It's a bigger topic to talk about, but I'll send you the checklist in the follow-up email once a week. Put aside about an hour. You can go through this checklist. The weekly review keeps us focused on what's important. It gives us a chance to look at the past, to look at the future, and to look at the present. And one of the questions in the present in the weekly review is, what am I resisting? Which once again brings up to the surface, oh, there are those things I've been procrastinating about. So the reason I love this so much is because it makes a difference to me. I struggle in the past with these things. I still struggle with these things if I don't put these practices into place, if I don't use some of these tools. So back to you to do a bit more thinking. So we're just about to wrap up here. So for that thing you're resisting, for that thing that you're procrastinating about, you went and had a look and decided if it was difficult, undefined, scary, or tedious. Now just write down a couple of sentences. What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about this thing? So this is my way of sort of getting you to think about all the content from the workshop and just think of all this content that I've just shared. What are you going to do about that thing you're resisting? How are you going to do it? Yeah, please put it in the chat if you'd like. I'll read out some of these for the recording. Start it this morning. Bite off one piece at a time. Yeah, that's one thing. Thanks, Sue. That's one thing I didn't talk about. Like, how do you eat an elephant? How do you get through this procrastination? One bite at a time. Absolutely. So how do you eat the frog? Just get started. Schedule some systems. Thanks, Aaron. Going to use the Pomodoro technique and stealth mode and just get it done. Nice work, Marilyn. Just get in there and do it. Michelle, define it, break it down, do a bit each week. Great. Define it, break it down. I like that. Set a timer, break it down. Nice one, Rebecca. Belinda, one list before details list. Not quite sure what that's getting at there, but that's okay. If that works for you, that's all that matters here. Set up a timer system to get work done in achievable chunks. Well done, Angela. All right, look at all this coming in. Beautiful. Remember, you can't do everything. So I did mention human, not superhero. You can't do everything. So choose the important things. Reframe this. Getting through this procrastination is not about thinking, how am I going to achieve everything? Because that's just not going to happen. So choose the important things, get those 5 things chosen, get stuck into them. And if you're getting the important things done, that really is what makes a difference. Because remember, we're human. I know I mentioned this at the start. Remember, we're human. You know, you may appear like it once you start getting through this procrastination, getting those 5 priority things done, you will start to look like a superhero, but we still need to look after ourselves. So I will pause for questions in a sec. I'll be asking you to put any questions in the chat, please, if you have them. Some of the workshops that we do at Think Productive, for those of you that don't know, we've got a whole range of different sort of productivity, personal productivity, team productivity workshops that we offer. The hybrid working ones are really popular at the moment, with organizations thinking about struggling with this idea around hybrid work. Team communications is really important in hybrid working. Fixing meetings is coming up a lot as well. So, and our foundational productivity ninja workshops as well. So get in touch with me if you have any questions about those. We love delivering these workshops and supporting you and your teams. So please put any questions you have in the chat. The next Ninja Skill Booster is on emails with etiquette. And I love the subtitle. You get the email you deserve. So if we're sending emails with better levels of etiquette, better subject lines, better formatting, we get better responses. So I'll just put the link in the chat there if you'd like to just jump on and register for that now. It's free. All our Ninja Skill Boosters are free. The other work we do is not free, but all the Ninja Skill Boosters are. So if you wanted to jump in there, that's our next workshop. Rebecca's got a comment/question. I think I did the 0 inbox training, but still cannot get to 0. Okay, Rebecca, I will come to that. Let's talk about that a little bit. And once again, for those of you that want to connect with me, here are my contact details. Or if you want to just have a look at the business, I'll just put our website in the chat for you here. Just make sure I type that correctly, www.thinkproductive.com.au. Okay, thanks, Kerry, feeling motivated. Awesome session. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Rebecca, the inbox to 0 comment. Rebecca says in the chat, I did the 0 inbox training, but still cannot get to 0. Yeah, Rebecca, get in touch with me. If you've done one of our workshops, I'm very happy to spend time with you and just have a chat through that, where you might be stuck, what might be going on. We can get our inboxes to 0. We've got a fantastic process, as you know, because you did the workshop. But please flick me an email, Rebecca. I'll put my email in the chat here again. Flick me an email and we'll have a chat on the phone. We might even jump on a Zoom call and do a screen share there and see if I can help. I'll just stop the recording now and see if there's more questions.